Welcome to Adeptus On-Air, the show where we examine how individuals and companies make decisions that drive their business and personal success. Each week, we connect with notable professionals who pull back the curtain on the industries that Adeptus has been on the cutting edge of for the last 30 years, including music, sports, and entertainment, as well as new emerging markets. For our next episode, I am happy to present the great Sherry Dishman, who is the mother of rising tennis star Hailey Baptiste. We got to know each other a little bit over a year, almost about a year now, right? At the Miami Table Tennis.
Almost here.
Exactly. Yeah, where we met last March, and just a great woman and a great mom, and just a great parent overall and in person. And so I wanted to pick your brain a little bit. Thanks for the time. And not everyone has your type of story as a professional tennis mom, but I think a lot of people can relate to the fact that you are a parent, and a lot of people that listen are parents. So I'd be curious just to get your take on a lot of things, in that respect. So let's start. Let's backtrack. This is not the beginning, but the beginning as far as you and Hailey. Incredible pregnancy story that you shared. I'm sure you want to share with the audience. Just kind of take us back. Give us the year, give us the time, and just break it down.
Okay, it was 2001. I had minored in fashion merchandising and I majored in film. And so I was thinking, because I wanted to combine the two, and I just wasn't sure which direction I wanted to go, I did want to further my career, or at least my knowledge on the fashion world. And so I decided that I was going to move to New York and I was going to go to FIT, which I had already got accepted. I had found a place to live. I had a roommate, everything. And so come March of 2001, I found out I was pregnant. And so that just changed the entire trajectory of everything that I was going to do. And so with that happening, I wasn't even thinking what was I going to do from there, my job or my career. I just knew it was going to be put on hold. And so come September of that same year, I'm 8 months pregnant and I see on the news what's happening on 9/11. And for me, I was going to be living in the area where a lot of the tragedy happened. And so for me, I just told myself, I was like, wow, she probably saved me
Wow.
because I was going to be right there. And I just felt like whatever happens from here, like I'm going to do whatever I have to for her. And so with moving forward, like once she turned 4 years old after that, I started doing other stuff with fashion and was working in public relations actually. And so once she got into tennis when she was 4, she just decided that she really liked it. She hit a tennis ball with her dad and then she just fell in love with it. From there, she couldn't stop. Every day she wanted to play. In the basement of my mom's hair salon, she was knocking over products. Like she just never wanted it to end. And so she just moved forward through the program that she was in. It was just an after school program here in DC. It was just after school. And so she outgrew the program. And so we saw an article in the Washington Post about Junior Tennis Champion Center in College Park. And we were like, wow, she probably should go there. And a colleague of mine that was working with me at the time had known a coach that was working there that worked with the current the current mayor at the time, Adrian Fenty's sons. They were there. And she said, oh, I know him. He's coaching them. Maybe I said, well, can you check with him to see if he can give her a try? And so she did. And she went there. And the rest is like history from there because once she started there, it was like in 5th grade, they were like, okay, she needs to stop regular school and stop here. We're like, well, shouldn't she finish the school year? They're like, she could learn so much more on the tennis court from the second half of 5th grade versus staying there. And so it was a challenge at first, but she was willing to do it. So like I said, if she was wanting to do it, we would do whatever she wanted. And so that's what happened. So she started homeschooling in 5th grade, and from there, that's where it ended with that. And she got accepted with the USTA. They always did like programs that they would bring the kids down in the summer and take them for a couple of weeks or a week or so, take them to tournaments. And so she just developed like really well because she did a lot of the 10 and under programs that ended up using her for filming because I don't know why they did this because she was 10, she was using an adult racket when she was 9, but
Wow.
the pro USTA decided they wanted to do the green dot balls, and so they were so light, like air light. And so she had a heavy racket. So those little balls, like, it was weird for her, but I mean, she was able to do it. So we just went through the whole process with just doing everything, every step of the way. Like I know some people have, skipped steps with everything and, you know, have gone from straight from juniors to turning professional or going to college. And I'm just remembering when we were in Paris, she was 15, I think it was, and
Wow.
she was playing the junior French Open, and she had did an interview and with Boris Kojo. Actually, he was like asking
Wow.
her like how amazing it was to have been in the third round there, and what was her decisions? Was she going to school? She was like, "Well, I want to turn professional." And he asked her, how do your parents feel about that?" And she said, "They support me," which we did. And so that's how it happened.
Wow. Wow.
So much more from there too.
Man, no, that's phenomenal just from really beginning and end and very well explained. I do have some questions in between there.
Sure.
Um, you mentioned 9/11. I mean, that's obviously a historic time
Yeah.
in the world. Haley's birthday was what that year?
November 3rd.
Wow, November. So that's less than 2 months.
Yeah, I was like, I was 8 months pregnant because she actually came 10 days early. She wasn't supposed to be born until like November 13th or something. But yeah.
Wow. So just the symmetry there is just amazing. And then your life story there, where you would have been in that area. Obviously, I mean that's
Right.
yeah,
Because I love New York. I love New York. Yes.
yeah. That's phenomenal. That's incredible. Just that symmetry and that story there. Also, did Haley play other sports, or was she 100% tennis once she picked up the racket?
Well, no, the thing is, Haley was good at any sport she played. Like I come from a family of athletes. Like
Mhm.
the athleticism skipped me it went to her. Like my mom and all her brothers and sisters, they swam competitive swimming growing up, like from very young, like 4 years old, just like Haley did. And so initially, I was thinking that Haley was going to be a competitive swimmer too. And so she tried it, she did it, and my aunt's like, "Oh, she wants to be a perfectionist. She couldn't get the breathing down." But then she didn't want to do like the tournaments because that time kind of schedule was so much different than tennis, swimming. But she didn't want to do swimming. But then she played basketball also, and she was really good at basketball. So it came to a point where she had to make a decision. But her basketball coach was like, "Oh no, no." She was like, because she came to him and she's like, I can't come to practice." He was like, "That's okay. That's okay. You don't have to come to practice. Just come to the game."
Show up to
And
the
so we
games.
started off
Yeah.
like that. And she was still doing well at the game. She was doing some phenomenal stuff. But and then it came down to the point where she had to make a decision between the two. And so she chose tennis. So
Gotcha.
that's where it happened.
How did you balance as a mom, um, letting your daughter kind of feel her way through the process, even though she's very young, and not being too maybe heavy-handed or influential in her decision? Like, how do you balance? So I'm thinking me, I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. At this
Yeah.
point, I'm very influential in their decisions and what they want to do, and I feel like I kind of tell them what's right and what's wrong. So
Yeah.
how do you balance that as she gets older?
I found that I was balancing just going because I'm a true believer of going with what the child's really desires and their passions and what they actually want to do. I'm not someone that wants to force her to do anything. Like I said, I put her in tennis just because that was what my family did. She didn't want to do that, so I took her out of that. But like I said, she fell in love with tennis from the first ball she hit, and she just was animate about wanting to continuously do it after school every day. And so, because she was so passionate about it, I didn't see anything wrong with it. Going down the road, like we didn't see it that it was going to end up where it is now. Like I was just thinking, this is what my daughter wants to do. And, I'll help facilitate whatever that takes to get her to do it. And so, because and it was pretty simple. Like she got in tune with doing homeschooling, and she still had friends. Like all of her friends, they were at the school, so it was kind of like a college setting a bit, because everybody was in different grades, so everybody had their own syllabus and things that they had to work on. It was hard for her at first because she was like staring up the ceiling, looking at the birds outside sometimes, but she got used to it. Yeah. So no, that part of it really wasn't that difficult just because of how much she loved it. And the
Yeah.
thing is, she told my mom, like my mom she still is an avid athlete. Like she works out every day, like even to this day. And so she was walking with my mom. She was 9, and she told my mom, she said, most people don't know what they want to do with their life. And she said, but I know what I want to do. I want to be a professional tennis player. And
Wow.
mom
Wow.
said they were on because they were going on because she liked to work out with my mom. So it was so
Yeah.
cute for her to do that. So
No, I
I
think
was
that's
like, and at the time I was like, that's just something the kids say, like, oh yeah, I want to be. Yeah, nobody was taking it seriously, but I mean, she wanted to do it, and she never stepped away from that.
yeah, I think that's a great lesson for all parents and for me. Just if your kid, if your child is showing that they have a heavy interest and passion into something, to further facilitate it and just see where it goes. Whatever
Right.
it is, athletics or
Yeah,
academics.
agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah.
'Cause the thing is she was good at art, and she was a smart student as well. And she picked up music um quite well. She taught herself how to play the guitar. I just found a video that she had made up a song to play with my stepdad because he plays the bass. And they
Oh
were
wow.
making up the song. It was so cute. Yeah, but our family too comes from a history of musicians as well.
Wow. Wow. So multi-talented, definitely in the genes with the entire
Yeah.
family. That's amazing. Haley, you said Haley turned pro at 15. If
No, she didn't turn till how old was she? She was 17.
got you
I think,
17.
yeah, she was 17 because when she was 17, that's when she played her very first WTA tournament when she played the City Open, which is located here. And she played Madison Keys' first round, who was the 2 seed, which
Wow.
was insane. We were like, it was like all of our home crowd was here to watch her. And she played amazing. And she ended up winning the match. And it just was
Wow.
phenomenal. Yeah.
Wow.
Great experience. And yeah. And
That's
that's it from there. Yeah.
was there any point for you as a parent to where you felt that, okay, the professional ranks is reachable? Did you always feel that way? Was there a point midway through, or was it until it actually became a reality, that she would be a professional tennis player and she'd actually make a living out of it? Was there a point that you saw, not when she saw it, she always believed, obviously, but was there a point in her upbringing, whether it was 10, 15, 13, or actually 17, where you're like, okay, she's really going to be one of the, 1% of people that play tennis that, make the professional ranks?
Right. Like I said, when she was 15 at the French Open, she's just made it her point because got offers from every college in the country,
Mm,
and she just is like. because initially she did want to go to Miami University and, but she got offers everywhere. But she said, I think I want to turn professional and give that a try and see how that works. And I can always go back to college when I decide to do that. And a lot of people, like a lot of family, friends, a lot of people that don't even really know how the tennis world works. They're like, oh my God, no, she should go to school. She should do this and this and that. And they're like, why are you doing that? She has all these offers. She gets a free scholarship. And I was like, yeah, I know. But she believes that when the time comes, she'll be able to pay for college on her own. So
Exactly.
I trusted in that for her. I was always a firm believer of whatever she thought about herself because I believed in her just as much.
That's amazing. And you all made the right choice, and she's happy, and the family's happy. And that's really what matters the most. A little bit about you, Sherry. What would you, how would you describe your role in Haley's life beyond the obvious of being the mom, but as far as being at events and facilitating and all that stuff, how would you describe your role? And I'll ask the second part after that. But
Okay. Okay. Well, in the beginning, it was just, being there as her support, obviously, because obviously parents are going to have to be there because they're minors and they have to be taken around and everywhere. And especially if we have to travel to different states, because in the beginning, it was just going around the country, not really initially just in the mid Atlantic, then country and yeah, and she didn't start traveling internationally until I think she was about 14. And so yeah, but in the beginning for us, it was just us being there to help get her around. And for me, I was never one to interfere with like any of the coaches' expertise on what she needed to be doing, other than to follow their lead and what I could do to assist them on in that directive. So she knew that, but she appreciated that I never interfered. And still to this day, I don't because I know now I'm not a coach and I don't have that kind of knowledge to be able to tell her what to do. I know tennis because I've watched it so much with her and just watching it, period, and being around it. But, I can see for me, what I see, and I feel like this is where I contributed also, is because I know that psychology is the biggest part of tennis itself. And that was something that I was always interested in. And I wanted to be a psychiatrist at one point. But I had a friend of my mom's, he was a neurosurgeon. He was like, no, don't do that. They all go crazy. So I was like, okay. But I always had an interest in psychology. So I still always kept that up. But I did know when she was 10, she might have been, she was might be 9. She was going to be 10 that year. I had met a sports psychologist at girls' tennis clay courts, and she had remained until this day having him on her side that she can always contact because he knows our whole story. He knows me. He
Nice.
knows her very well. So it worked out well that way. Just because psychology is the biggest part of tennis. Because for her right now, even with everything this, she's trying to gain her ranking and go further. But for her to do that, she has to get herself together emotionally off court in that scene. So, and I've
Yeah,
talked this, she's had to deal with, outside things other than tennis.
yeah, and you also have to consider that they're still so young, right? And they're
Exactly.
growing into their own. I'm thinking when I was Haley's age, I'm just trying to figure out how to be an adult.
Exactly.
But
She's because she literally just turned an adult,
yeah,
fully adult, 21 in November. So she's like, she thinks, yeah. But when she turned 18, she was thinking, I've traveled the world twice already. I'm like, no, no. And she had done a lot of things when she was young. I was just remembering when she was 15, she was in South America for like a month by herself.
wow,
Like, yes. And I was like, I was so scared. And so she called me when she got there. She went to Paraguay first, and we had only gotten her a visa to go to Brazil. And so she calls me and she's like, oh, She said, "Yeah, I needed to get a visa for." I was like, "Well, are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I just did it." She's like, "It was a couple of $100. I just did it." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
But you became really mature, and that's what happens too with tennis. They become so well rounded and so mature, especially the girls, just especially having to do stuff like that. But they grow up quickly,
Yeah.
having to do these things early.
No, that's a good point. I didn't really think about. Yes, it's such an interesting world, and they're getting to travel the world at such a young age.
Right. So
And,
young.
and that kind of led me to my second question. You mentioned her turning 21. She's officially an adult now, at least
Right.
eyes of the law. How does your role change, or how will it change? I guess it's so new to you, you don't fully know, but how will your role change from the mom of Haley at 15 and the mom of Haley as an adult, the tennis
It
mom?
for me, I just felt like, and it just was like an epiphany for me, even starting last January. I was like, okay, she's growing and she's going to be at this point by this time, this year. I was like, now is the time I feel like I can re-engage into the things that I want to do.
Mhm.
So I can still be here for her, which is why I put along a lot of the pieces with her financial advisors, everything that I was doing before she became professional, and just handed these things off. Although, I'm still in tune with everything and there when she can't be available to be, a proxy for her. And so I can always do that. And whatever she needs me to, like, she just had me. She was like, "Mom, can you sign me up for this wild card for California?" And I was like, "Yeah," like little things like that. Because for me, I worked in a public relations firm and we had Fortune 500 companies that we represented.
Wow.
So when I was helping her, I was just like, she's going to be I'm going to treat her like she's a Fortune 500 company and do those same things that I was doing for these companies for her.
Very
And
smart.
so, yeah, I don't have to do as much now because I have some other people that are doing it now for her, but I can always jump in where needed. But now I'm really getting back into what I actually want to do.
And I was going to ask that. What does the next chapter in life looks like for you in terms of the things that you want to get into now that you probably put on pause for the last 10 years or so at least,
Yeah.
while Haley developed into a rising tennis star.
Yeah, that's funny you say chapter because I'm writing a book that I'm trying to complete right now.
There you go. There you go.
And the thing is, I have all of my content together, and just in speaking with the people that I've worked with throughout the years, and people that I've went to school with, that are doing the things that I want to do. Um, Even old teachers and professors I've connected with just to get, back in the loop with some of the things that I've forgotten how to do, like script writing stuff. Like my script writing professor was amazing. Like, I don't know if you remember when it was out that like Project Greenlight was like a million years
Yeah,
ago.
I
Like
remember
Ben
that.
Affleck and Matt Damon did it,
Yep.
and so she believed in my writing so much. She had given me that. She was like, "You need to do this." And I was scared, so I didn't do it. But no, like now, I'm so excited about the things that I want to write because I have all these creative ideas that I have that are gonna spin from the book actually. So for me, when finishing this book, I do want to adapt portions of the book into film and to television. So
Wow.
that's what I'm.
No, that's awesome, and I'm so happy that you get that time because being a creative person and not being able to use that
Oh,
creativity has to be really tough.
yeah, it was. It was like it was buried actually. And it, like I said, last January, it was like all these energies in my creative, because I thought I had forgotten them. I really thought I had forgotten, and they just start coming about. And I was like, oh my gosh, they just start flowing. So I just said, yeah.
Wow. Tell us, I guess, without giving out too much, because I know, there's probably some level of secrecy there. But what can you tell us about one of your projects descriptively that you can share? That one of the creative
I,
ideas.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is just a portion. And like I said, like pretty much everything is gonna stem from a portion of the book. So a portion of the book, what I want to adapt to film actually, probably one of the first films I want to do is like my I don't, you know, the song Jamaica Funk.
No, mm-mm. I don't know it, but maybe if I hear it, I would know it. But the
It's an
title,
old song. It's very old. Jamaica Funk. That's what it is.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah, all right. There's been some renditions where they put other words in it and said that's what it is, but I know the
Yeah,
name of it.
yeah. I
Yeah,
would okay, so that guy,
you
he
nailed it, by the way.
created that's my grandfather's nephew. And
Wow,
so, yeah, he was 17 when he did that. And what happened was he got kind of screwed around by Tom Brown with all the, you know, the rights and everything, you know, so he never got his due process with all any of it. But for
wow,
me, just for him and just my grandfather in general, like because Duke Ellington was my grandfather's first cousin, so like this is like
wow. The
like I
Duke
said, I was
Ellington.
thinking about the musicians in the family. And
Wow,
so, but he had written that song for Jamaican Funk. And I was just remembering as a little girl, I was 4 years old, looking out the window, like my grandparents had a pool in the backyard. So, and apparently, because I asked my grandfather 2 years ago, I was like, if it was the first and only Dishman family reunion. And I said that the party was such success. Why didn't you guys do it again? He said the older Dishmans were cheap. So they didn't want you know, contribute to doing it anymore. And so I was like, that's crazy. So, but for me, what I want to do is just tell kind of the backstory just with the song in general, but on with the foundation of it just being about the family reunion, but
yeah.
then the backstory in the film and this little girl just growing up watching this happen. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's a great idea and it's real life. I think people
Yeah.
gravitate to
And
things that
I
very
think
true.
most of my writing, I love to, you know, interject, you know, real life regardless. And that's how I've always done. And so, and no matter how I write, it's always gonna have some humor in it.
Mhm.
So yeah, no matter how serious and traumatic things get, it's still gonna have humor.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to these creative projects, and I'm glad that
Yeah.
you get to use all that creativity that you've been kind of holding back
Yeah.
for a while, just to put Haley first, which I think is admirable, and any parent should do. Make sure they put their children first, but you also have to live your life as well. So that's no, that's just tremendous. Um, how comfortable? I mean, we've talked about health ailments and things that you've dealt with. It looks like you're on the rising side and doing very very well. On the health side. I don't know if there's something you want to share. Maybe it'll inspire the next person that might be listening.
Oh, definitely. No, and dealing with so that was 2019 that I got diagnosed with MS in February 2019. And at the time, like MS to me, had no clue what it was. I was like, oh, I was just thinking about infomercials for mesothelioma. I was like, oh, I'll probably take some pills and it'll be over with. And but then my neurologist came and showed me my MRI, and I was like, geez, I saw my brain on the MRI. I was like, wow. And so I was like, okay, so and that's another reason why I was thinking that all these memories and creative thoughts that I had were gone. Because
Mm,
I was just like, oh, my brain is screwed up. This everything's gone. So I was like, I don't know what I can do. I don't know what and I was always a smart student. And so I was really great in math and science and English, everything. And I was like, I probably can't do anything. I was like, I don't know what I can do because that looks crazy looking at my brain. So at that time, it took me a while to even grasp that it was a disease. I was just like, oh, it's just a condition and I can handle it. But no, it just came full throttle once I was in the airport by myself and I was like, oh my God, I have to stop and sit down for a second because I have to rest. And so with MS, it's just, you have to, I guess, conserve your energy as much as you can
Mm.
because like you only have a certain tank, probably that you should use every day. And so you have to be really careful with that to not overdo it. So because that will cause issues for you. And so I learned the hard way because I was overdoing it because I was wanted to still act like I was normal.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it was tough at first, but now I'm like, it's so much better for me. And because I've been exercising and going to physical therapy, it's just gotten better because I've gotten stronger, I've gained weight, and it's just so much better. And because my mind is more clear because I'm actually doing the stuff that I want to do too.
Yeah, that's tremendous to hear. And just even in the year that I've known you, I see a nice improvement in terms of just everything, and it's just great to see with that. So I'm happy for you. And last question I do want to ask you on that. You had mentioned that you learned the hard way. How long did it take you to figure out how to manage it? Just time. You said 2019 you were diagnosed. That was about 4 years ago.
Yeah. So probably not until last year.
Mm.
Like, and I think probably last year, to be honest with you, when like in January in Australia was amazing, by the way. Um, I was there and I just like it was just like something hit me. I was like, I have to. I just wanted. I saw her in tears on the court, and I was just like, I have to do whatever I can to help her. It was still me feeling like I had to help her, but I knew that helping her would be me helping myself and doing better for myself. That would be beneficial to her. And so, like, it was my mind was clear to do that. But then it was like, okay, I have to take this seriously. I have to, and I always ate well and did everything I normally am supposed to do because I can be really disciplined with that. But I just had to be extra disciplined with doing the stuff that I have to do because of my condition.
Yep, and that makes a difference, especially you're traveling all over the world. You mentioned
Yeah. Yeah. And
Australia.
I was like, I want to do this stuff. So I don't want to miss out because I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Paris, where else?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wimbledon, London. You have all the big tournaments that Haley
Yes.
participates in.
They are amazing.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. What is your
Australia, New York is supposed to be my favorite because it's in the States, but Australia, because I'm just remembering last year we were there. We had left in December and we were there, and it was beautiful because it's summer over there, and during that time, and she ended up winning on my birthday. I mean, it was the best birthday present. I was like, this will forever be my favorite tournament.
wow, wow,
Yeah,
that's amazing. Never been to in actually never been to Australia. I've been to London. I like London.
yeah,
But
it's so hard. Australia, what is it? Is it I want to say 16 hours
wow, from where? From LA or
from LA. So
wow. So you go the
did
other way and it's still
we
16 hours.
flew to LA and then we got on, which was amazing too. That part was amazing because we got on a chartered flight.
Oh,
Because
nice.
this was like, when Australia was still heavy on doing everything really strictly with COVID
That's
stuff.
that's
And
right.
so all the players and their support team were on charter flights. And so we were on charter flights on Singapore Air, direct flights from LA. And so it was amazing.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I gotta try Australia at some point. I gotta add that on my list. Um uh,
Yeah, you definitely need to add that on your bucket list. It's too beautiful.
two more questions I have for you. The first one is what advice would you have for other parents of athletes um who have professional aspirations? Since you've lived it, you've done it, what advice would you have for other parents?
For me, I just always think that you have to be realistic about the situation. Because it's funny you asked that because somebody was just telling me that they had that their daughter it was trying. She just started playing tennis at 13, which I said I think that's is too late for
Yeah,
anything. I said I think maybe she can, strive to, be a good college player, and then you see where it can go from there. But at 13, that's kind of too late to just be starting.
yeah,
And so, And a lot, the thing is, we've told parents that parents have all these hopes for their kids because this is what the parents want, not what the kids want,
Mm,
which makes it even worse because unless the kid really wants it, it's not going to happen. And
very
so,
true.
yeah, and that's the biggest thing is just to be realistic about the situation because you'll waste a lot of time and money doing
Mm,
something that's just isn't going to provide any fruition to the level that you want it to be.
yeah.
And you'll be disappointed and it's gonna cause havoc between you and the kid. And so ultimately, because I know parents, they sold their house. They were living in Jersey, like they sold their home. The daughter
Wow.
was only 12 years old. And I'm like, geez. And that from what I know of her now, she's in like a D3 college.
Mhm.
So it's like, yeah, so
Wow.
a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
hopes and aspirations and things that happen really bad for some kids that I know too, like a lot of abuse to kids, like if they lost matches. I mean, it was rough, the stuff that I've seen.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, people they need to clean that up, and that goes. The adults have to be the adults in the room. You know, the adults
exactly.
can't make poor decisions like
And
that.
put all of that pressure on the I mean, they were young kids. These are kids, I'm talking about 10 and under kids. Yeah.
Wow, wow. No, that's crazy. And last question I guess a lighter note. What what do you envision 2023? I know we're only a month in. What do you envision 2023 for yourself and also for Haley? What would you like to see 2023 bring for your daughter and for yourself?
For Haley, I just want to see her just become more independent in making her own decisions for herself with her career. And I think that's what's going to make her happier because I literally just spoke to her last week about that situation. And I told her, I said, your dad and I said, we are just here to be your parents. I was like, I have backed off because I just wanted to be up to you to make your decisions about what you want to do and wherever direction you want to go with your career. So I think that's important for you to be able to do that because you've been doing it for so long. And she said, Mom, that's all I want. So for her to say that, I was like, okay. And that's what I'm going to continue to do.
Yeah,
Um, Let her, and when she needs me, she'll say something. And so I know, I think it'll be a beautiful year, and it started off really well, and just even this week started off really great because she was with her dad like for the last 3 weeks, and it was just awful for her. And so he's not there now, and she's doing so much better, and she's just like, this is the best for her. Her mind is clear, and she's making her decisions on her own. And where she needs help, she'll ask me and I'm so happy for her. And like for me, I feel like really excited about, like I was saying, about actually finally finishing this book and doing at least one of the projects that I want to put forth. At least, putting them, setting them in motion.
yep,
Most of them, yeah. Since
yep.
most of them will come from the stories from the book.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you have an awesome plan for the year, and yeah, just so happy to see how everything will develop and how everything has continually developed over the past year since I've known you, and we'll definitely keep an eye out on Haley and how
Yeah.
she's doing at every tournament. So Sherry, thank you so much for joining the podcast and just awesome insight and just incredible story and the story is just beginning. So there's a lot more chapters to write.
Yes,
Use the
for
pun,
sure.
since you're the writer now to use your pun. So Sherry, thank you for joining Adeptus on Air, and look forward to continuing our conversation down the road and hearing back from you soon.
All right. Thank you so much, James.
Thanks for listening to Adeptus On Air. If you like this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. Views and opinions by the podcast speakers and guests are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Adeptus. This podcast provides general information only and is not intended to constitute advice.